Morning, everyone, and welcome to From My Pen. This great platform is sponsored by 18 Studios Network in the great city of Clinton, North Carolina. We're glad you're here. We have a phenomenal woman that we're going to talk to. We use the word interview, but I want to use the word talk to. We're going to have a great dialogue. We're going to fellowship and conversation. Her name is Christina Nelson from the great, wonderful area of Brunswick, New Jersey, way up north. So we're going to connect with her. We're going to talk to her. So welcome all the audience. We're glad you're here to fellowship with us. Hi, Christina. How are you doing this morning?
Hello, I am doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. We're going to get at it. We're going to go ahead and get started. And you know that one of the first questions that we're going to ask is that you tell us about you. Talk to us about who Christina Nelson is.
Well, Christina Nelson is a mom. She is a wife. She is also a pastor.
Oh my goodness.
Just became a pastor, ordained earlier this year.
Congratulations for that.
So much. Thank you so much. It's an honor. I am also a grandmother, believe it or not. And I work as an IT specialist, and I work from home, thankfully.
Yes.
My husband and I, we have a ministry together, which I love. Like, there's one thing I ask of God is that I be able to have a husband that I can work with in ministry.
Amen.
And just that Restoring Health Ministries. I am a talk show host, just like you're doing today. In fact, you were one of my esteemed guests.
It was an honor. Yes.
It was a wonderful, wonderful interview. It's called the Christina Nelson Show: Motivate, Inspire, and Heal. And that's about it.
All right. That's lovely. That's wonderful. One of the things that I'm gonna piggyback on, I'm gonna go back to new pastor as of this year. To God be all the glory.
Absolutely.
Yes, he has elevated you in a level of ministry that few of us can claim. Being a pastor is more than a notion. It's not a joke. So talk to me about the pastorship.
Wow, that's one of the things that I think I ran from for a while. I was kind of like, every time we would say we're going to get ordained, something would happen, it would get pushed back, and I would kind of be relieved to like, okay, oh, that's fine. Well, the next time we'll do it. So when it came to doing it, I know that was my call.
Yes.
I know it was God was placing on my life. I've always known that, but it was something about having that level of responsibility, and having people under you and responsible for spiritual, lives of people. And my husband is a pastor. That was no problem. I was okay being a pastor's wife. It was fine until now they ordained me as a pastor. And it's a great call. It's a wonderful call. I enjoy talking and being with the people, and we do a lot of things virtual. We do mostly everything virtually. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and lupus, and so is my husband. And so we have this ministry together where we are encouraging people with the word of God, that God can heal, God can do. It's in his word. And so we are together with that. And so it's a virtual thing, but it's also nice to be able to communicate with people all over. It's not just, we have a church home and we get up and we go to the church building and all the people in this area are with us. It's everywhere from all over the United States that we get to minister and get to serve other people. And it's an honor and it's a privilege.
That is fantastic. I want to stick with that subject, but I'm going to move on because you're a strong woman of God. We say pat you on the back, but I just have to give you a little bit of accolades, just a little bit, that you're ministering to the nation. You're ministering to the masses with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I just think that is a blessing. And I know that it helps you in your walk with Christ and your walk with these illnesses that we have to we have incurred these illnesses, and here we go, and what do I do? But you are a pastor, and you have been elevated in ministry and in healing and in the word. So God bless you on that.
Thank you.
Christina. So the next question is, and you've already answered it.
Okay.
What do you get your drive from? What keeps you moving? How do you wake up in the morning to
Oh,
even,
wow.
yes, what drives you?
Well, it is getting up and having to know that I was ordained to do this, to just, and not just be a pastor, but it's the wife, being a
Yes,
wife,
yes,
being a mom. And even though my children are adult children, you're still a mother.
that's
Still,
right. It,
I'm
girl,
sure you know.
yes, yes,
I don't care how old they are.
I know.
You still mother. And just being able to get up and know that we have a responsibility to nurture and to minister and to encourage people.
Hmm.
And that is what drives me to be able to have people understand that, not convince people, but to encourage people to stay encouraged themselves and to stay, not to falter, not to give up, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, but also to also have to keep that same vigor for myself, because just because you're a pastor doesn't mean that you're not human.
That's
You go
right.
through the
That's right.
everyday things everyone else goes through. The very people that you're trying to encourage, you have to deal with that stuff as well.
Yeah.
And it still has to get up and push me to be able to do that still every day.
Okay. Okay. You just blessed my heart. I needed to hear that. Thank you very much. This week, today, this second, I needed to hear that. So thank you. What influenced you to start a broadcast? Where did that come from?
Years ago, well, 2016, I believe, I was a part of a group, and I was single at that moment, so it was a singles group, and they had they started a broadcast. It was on the radio, online radio, and they asked me to do one of the interviews, and I said, I don't know how to do it. He's like, what are you talking about? So he just has some questions about singles and keep it going. And I said, okay. So I did it, and I realized that I had a knack for it. I said,
all
I can
right.
do this. Time went on, and then eventually I got my own broadcast. It was not the Christina Nelson Show. It was called I Am Healed. And it was just, pretty much the same platform, just talking about bringing people on who were healed of, or who are healing of, not just the physical thing, but maybe you had depression and God healed you from depression. God healed you from, mental illness or anything of that sort. God healed you from cancer or whatever happened, at the time that God healed you from. And so I would do that broadcast, and eventually I started going live. Someone encouraged me, you should really do this live. Like, you keep hiding behind this online radio. And I was fine with doing the online radio. I was like, I'll stay here. But eventually I went live, and I just enjoy it so much. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy getting people to open up and talk about what's going on with them, because I always believe that you are overcome by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of your testimony.
Amen. I agree.
Overcome. And so when someone hears a message and someone hears you talk about it, they can say, they did it, God did it for them, he could do it for me too. And that is my whole point, is to be able to encourage somebody not to give up, because look, it happened to this person. God did it for them. He healed them. He brought them out. He can do it for them too.
Yes. One of the things I think, Christina, that we run from is the word of our testimony. Yeah. We're afraid, we hide, we're ashamed.
Yeah.
But if we would come forward, I won't say them, I would say we.
Yeah.
If we come forward with some of the things that we've gone through, knowing that God rescued us and lifted us out of the ditch.
Yes.
I'm going to go tell somebody else that he is able. It won't be a lie. It won't be an exaggerated testimony, but it will be the truth. So if we would do that and really be concerned about our brothers and sisters, whether they're saved or not. And I believe that the testimony for the unsaved will bring them on in. I really believe that.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Has there ever been a question on your broadcast that you were so excited about? You've already answered that too. Any other type of subjects that may have come forward and you just jumped at it and say, I can't believe this. This is great. Has there ever been a moment that blew your mind?
Oh gosh, there are so many moments. And in fact, just small questions or something you didn't know about a person. I actually thought about this question, and I remember asking you a question, and my question to you was, how did you get the name of your publication? And when you told me about how inspired, how you were driving somewhere and you looked up and it was red leaves or something to that nature, and for some reason that has stuck with me, and I continue to remember that, how beautiful that sounded. Something so simple, and how God just takes these simple things, and something as simple as looking up. It's like, and taking that name and making something of it. It made me just like, wow, that was just a wonderful, wonderful testimony. And in the midst of everything that you were going through, I believe it was your daughter and thing. And so it was just a wonderful way to acknowledge God in that, and the beauty of what He was doing, and something that He created, and make it something like what you do.
Wow, Christina, I can't believe you remembered that. That was
it's stuff like that.
that means a lot to me that you remembered that. Well, let me share this one with you. Just on yesterday, and I'm sharing this with Tamika as well. We were at my granddaughter, 8 years old. We were at the gas station. I was getting gas, and her name is London, and she says, "Mama, there's a lady from the church." And so I turned around and I spoke to that lady, and she came. We talked. She shared with me that her husband has cancer.
Wow.
So that was not a coincidence that my granddaughter says, "Look, Mama, there's a lady from the church, 8 years old. She lives in Durham." But she recognized, she recognized this lady from Mount Pleasant, my church in Clinton. And I just the small things, like you said. And I thought about that on the way home. I said, God, that was not a coincidence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the red leaves was not a coincidence. I needed to hear from Him. And that's what He does, isn't it, Christina?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So good way. I love how He just, like I said, it's just the simple things. And
Yes.
you just don't think of that. I think because I just thought the name was so unique.
Yeah.
That I was going to ask you, why? What made you say that? Like, out of all the things it could have been the Dorcas review, or could have been,
I know. Listen at you.
But it was that, and I said it was red leaves. I was like, what does that mean? It has to mean something. So when you told me, it just stuck, and I have never forgotten that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I'll never forget that you just said that. I won't forget that.
Absolutely.
Have you ran into any challenges? Have you had roadblocks? Have somebody knocked you in, or not somebody? Has anything knocked you in the head and said, you can't do this, you can't go another further, go somewhere and sit down, you know you have MS, go to the rocking chair?
Absolutely, yeah. Those thoughts come into your head often. I posted something on Facebook the other day. It's called ANTS, and it's an acronym for automatic negative thoughts. And it's something that the enemy likes to do. He likes to put these thoughts into your head that are so negative. It could be anything from my doing a live show and only seeing a handful of people on and getting discouraged because it was only a handful of people on. Like, the enemy will make you say, what are you doing this for? Why are you doing this all these years and only a handful of people are showing up? Why do you keep doing this? And it's always at that moment after the shows, or the person I'm interviewing will say something like, that blessed me. Thank you so much. Thank you for having this show. Or somebody will say, that was really good. And I'm going, really? Wow, I didn't think. In that encourages me to keep going. The enemy wants to make us think that, I think Joyce Meyer is one of my favorite people. She says it's stinking thinking.
I think I remember that.
He wants to make you think that you're getting worse. You're getting, you're not, why are you doing this? Why are you helping people? Nobody's receiving from you. We get discouraged a lot, and I think that's what, that's the enemy's job. He's doing his job, but what are we going to do? Are we going to hold thoughts captive? Are we going to, pick a scripture that says, something opposite of what the enemy is telling us right now? Whether it's how I look, how I feel, the interviews or the show or my job, anything of that nature. The enemy can try to throw those negative words to you and in your mind, and you can immediately, you can break down, or you can get up and say, what does God say about that?
It takes a minute for us to do that. I know that we're supposed to know that every second of every day, but we do have discouraging moments. Like you said, we have downtime, and we have to come to ourselves like David did. We have to come to ourselves and acknowledge that if he did it before, he'll do it again. And that
Absolutely.
sounds like a cliche, but it's the truth.
It's true.
Yeah, he'll do it again and again and again. That's the way.
Yep.
That's the God we serve.
That is. Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any balancing problems? You got your husband, you got you, your grandkids, your children, your job. Oh my God, your job. Doctor visits, doctor's instructions. There's got to be some kind of balance that you deal with that's kind of off. Or maybe it's perfect, Christina.
Not even close. It's definitely not perfect. You don't know how many times, I'll get that phone call and say, hey, you have a doctor's appointment tomorrow at 10, and I'll go, I do. And they'll say, yes, will you be there? And I'm like, I didn't take off from work. I didn't coordinate with my daughter to drive me. I didn't, there's just things that you just forget about. And if I can do it that minute and do it, and fine. If not, I have to say, I can't come. Can I reschedule? And they're like, okay, let's reschedule. And then now let me put it in my calendar. And there's things I put in my calendar that pop up, and I'm like,
oh, Christina. Oh my God. I thought I was a Lone Ranger.
Let me tell you that we have a lot. And it can all get kind of bunched up and merged together if you're not careful. Events that my husband will be like, don't forget we have this going on. I'm like, yeah. Oh yeah. That.
Oh my God, we sound like twins, okay? That is amazing. Who is the person in your life that you admire? Maybe one person. The one person that I know there's probably 200. So pick out just a couple that you admire that has pushed you and still push you even the more. Who's that one or two people?
I look at my mother, and this is just recently how I look. My mother is 94, bless her heart. She's 94.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's still moving. She lives with my sister. She has been living with my sister for many years now. But my mother, when I look back at her, and some of the things that I've gone through kind of can mirror, not the sickness, not anything of that nature, but just pushing through things that I had no idea that she had to push through. That when I was maybe a teenager, that I probably got angry at, because why don't you do this? Why can't I have that? Why can't it, and being a teenager. And now when I've had teenagers, and how I've realized that I was a single mother just like she was, and saying, wow, I don't have it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to get it. But just sitting there in your own thoughts, and how she must have sat there many of nights wondering how things were going to get taken care of, how we were going to eat, how we were going to pay the rent, and etc. But knowing that she did it, and I looked back and said, I don't know how we made it to where we made it, but we did. I know how. But at that time, I didn't. It was unexplainable to me. And I just look at her and say, wow, that was a strong woman right there. She pushed and pushed and pushed, and I know she endured a lot of stuff. And so I look to her, and I'm like, wow, you know what? I can't give up, because my mother never gave up on me. She was always there for me. She used to, we didn't have a car when I was growing up, and she used to walk. I gave this one quick incident. There was a school dance. I was in middle school. It was a school dance. And we didn't have a car, and it started late. I didn't ask for a ride or anything, but I wanted to go. She said, okay, I'll walk you. And I was like, no, you can't walk. I cannot be seen walking.
Oh, Christina.
With with my mother. I can't.
Uh-huh.
And picking me up, like, people are going to know that we don't have a car. People are going to know that, that I had to walk here. And it was walking distance. I lived within walking distance to the school. But I was just terrified. I was mortified. Like, why would she do that? And then looking back, like, she loved me so much that she was willing to walk me to the school, walk back home, walk back to the school, pick me up, and then walk back to the house. And I just was like, wow, that was such a sacrifice. And not even considering that she probably was feeling bad herself. Like, wow, I can't even get my daughter to the dance. But just those little sacrifices that, I realized that I started doing when my kids got older, or when I had kids.
It amazes me that she knew that you wanted to go. She was going to get you there. And to me, it was like, there was no embarrassment for her. No fear in her heart. She wanted to take care of you to make sure that you got what you wanted. So I see that. And she's a strong woman, indeed. Yeah, she's very strong. When have you grown the most in your life? In your life, teenager? I know you don't remember when you were probably below 12, but as a teenager, young adult, I'm not going to ask you how old you are. I'll leave it at young adult. So when have you grown the most in your life?
It's funny because I don't mind saying I just turned 50.
You look wonderful.
Thank you.
My daughter's 51, so okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I just turned 50, and in those, as I was approaching 50, I was like, the enemy, of course, was saying, "What have you done with your life? Look at you. You're just still here. You're still doing this."
Yes.
Like, oh man. But looking back, I think it started as when I had my son, my first child. He's 30, and so when I had my son, it was kind of like I had to grow up. I was 19 when I got pregnant. I was 20 when I had him, and it was like this. You got to get it together, girl. Like, you have a kid now. You can't just be lackadaisical. You can't just do whatever you want to do now. You have a kid. You have a responsibility, and that growth process. The next year, I got pregnant again. I had my daughter,
all right.
Like, we go again. Like, I didn't learn my lesson, but I did kind of learn my lesson, because now I'm saying, all right, now you got 2 kids. Now you got to really grow up. There's these, just as we grow during our phases, we have being children, adolescents, and young adults, and all those kind of things. When you're a parent, you go through those things too, because I was still young myself. And so I was still raising these kids, still wanting to have fun, still wanting to do things, but I was still having to grow through these stages of, now they're children, now they're adolescents, now they're a young adult, and growing with them in these different stages, and learning how to navigate this world of being a mother, but wanting to still have fun and wanting to do things. I've grown through the years because I look back and seeing what my kids are doing, my son, and how you don't think that they're gonna. Sometimes you're kind of like, I don't know. Are you gonna be okay?
I know. I hear you. Yeah.
Did I do something wrong? And to look at them and see where they're at now, you're just like, did okay.
Yeah. What audience do you reach out to with your broadcast? What kind of guests do you have? Not kind, but what type of guests do you have on your show?
I look for people who are, like my byline says, motivate, inspire, and heal. And so I look for people who do those things, motivate, inspire, and heal. I do have an audience, majority women, majority in that 30-ish and above, late 30s and above. I have women who, a lot of people, of course, were diagnosed with MS. They know that about me.
Okay.
Traction is okay, or any other disease. And some people, it's that. I think that's the demo right there.
Okay. I think that's wonderful. How long have you had MS, Christina?
This is 2020, so 23 years.
Christina, I did not know that. You were young.
I was young. I was like 27. I just had my youngest daughter. She's 20. Yeah, she's 23. So I just had her. And I think that is what I've heard many times, people who've had kids, and then they all of a sudden these symptoms start to exacerbate. And then 6 months after I had her, That's when everything started happening.
I see. I did not know that. God bless you for your strength.
Oh yeah,
And you have really blessed my heart on this morning. I appreciate you coming here. What would you, not coming, but I appreciate you really did come here. So, yeah. So, what would you like to leave the viewing audience today? What would you like to say to them?
Oh wow. Like myself, you may be thinking that things aren't going the way that I had planned. Things aren't going the way they should have. I want to encourage you that just when you think that it should have done this, God, you are right where you need to be.
Okay.
God does not waste anything that you have been through. The word says that all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose.
Mhm.
And so there's a purpose for you. And everything that you've been through, God did it so for your good. It's going to work out for the good, meaning if you were diagnosed with something, eventually that works out for his good. Because if I hadn't been diagnosed with MS, I probably would have never met my husband.
I hear you. Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be a pastor because of this, with the ministry and everything. None of these things would have occurred because I wouldn't have had this to go look at. But God will use everything that you have gone through to encourage somebody, to encourage yourself. So don't give up. God is on your side. He loves you infinity, and that will never change. And just stay encouraged. Keep doing what you're doing. It will pay off. If it's one or two people,
yes,
keep going.
Yes. Thank you so much for those encouraging words, for your encouraging life. We appreciate it here. How can we get in contact with you on your broadcast? How can anyone go to your broadcast and capture these awesome words that you offer to the world? How can we get in touch with you?
The Christina Nelson Show at gmail.com is my
Okay.
email. I'm also on YouTube as the Christina Nelson Show.
Okay.
And I have a Facebook page called the Christina Nelson Show.
Okay. That is fantastic. I love you. We love you. And we'll get back in touch with you real soon, sometime in the near future. I'm going to be in touch with you sooner than that. So thank you. God bless you. Thank you, viewing audience, for joining us this morning for From My Pen, 810 Studios Network, Clinton, North Carolina. God bless you and have a great rest of the day. God bless everybody. Bless you.